So this panel is going to focus on the business of startups. Yeah. So it's mostly about the relationship between corporates and startups, and I'm trying to understand why people get involved in the startup world from a business perspective. So I'm going to start off, if each of you can introduce yourselves and sort of add a one-liner about who you are and what you do.
Cool, I'm JD Salbego, based in LA and in Asia. I'm an advisor for Startup Grind, which is a global entrepreneur platform and conference platform. COO of Patient, we had the largest ICO in Japan, 40 million. And then I'm the CEO of Legion Ventures, which I do a growth strategy, a lot of global expansion for blockchain and crypto startups.
And a startup basically has two choices. You can either go down the VC and angel route, or you can go down the corporate route and build a partnership. What is best for me as a startup?
I think in 5 years, maybe, I would look at more so with corporate, but they're only now starting to, I think, kind of get the real kind of digital age that we're in, which is why for the past couple of years, all you hear is like digital innovation, digital strategy, all the big corporate consulting companies like Accenture, PwC, Deloitte, now they all have digital strategy divisions. And it's like a double-edged sword, I think, with corporate, is that you have a massive amount of resources, departments, money, relationships around the globe, even government stuff, but unless they're cutting edge, you're going to have all these walls that you're going to hit. You have to go through tons of reporting with different departments. They're also not used to the startup model, which is kind of built off like a lean startup with build, measure, learn, doing Scrum, doing sprints. Like what corporate company that has to report to their public stakeholders is going to want to do a sprint where you're testing something that's going to potentially 95% fail and lose money. But that's the whole basis of what startup is innovation. So. I don't think we're totally there yet. I mean, you can, it's great if it feels right, but I would always go with the VC first, or other ways for investments.
Like a startup who has to make a decision between sort of going down the corporate route or going down the VC route, or the investment route. So if I raise $1 million, and I need a distribution channel, then I have to create a distribution channel. Whereas if I have to go and partner up with a corporate, the distribution channel is already there, so I can understand exactly what it is, rather than having to create something and increasing the risk and having to create something and fail. So how do you create that synergy between these two businesses? One that needs to move quickly, I think the speedboat and tanker analogy, and one that needs to move slow and a bit more risk-averse.
Yeah, I think another good strategy is if you are a startup, which you would define really what your avenue is or what your vertical is, and also what your needs are, maybe for support that you don't have right now, or it's too hard to raise money or enough money to acquire those that support. A lot of corporate companies now are partnering with accelerators or incubators. So you have like Techstars, for instance, and they have regular Techstars in LA, where I'm based, they have the music Techstars, and there's corporate companies that invest money, they sponsor them, and it's a funnel. Also the government now, across the world, in almost every territory, governments are part of a lot of the incubators, and they have technology foundations. And that's another way to access corporate, but kind of in a more flexible, still do it your own way, and still guided, because obviously if you go with an incubator accelerator, that whole model is so you acquire these board of advisors and these lead mentors to help you and help introduce you to the seed round, which they put in, and then lead your other rounds. The other thing is also a lot of the corporate companies are now launching their own incubators. The TV studios have them, Hallmark has them, even corporate consulting like Accenture, they have their fintech lab, and that's another way. So I think, as you had mentioned, it's really important to really, I'm really big on analysis when I work with companies or my own stuff, and defining, what is it, it's like the 5 whys or something. I think it's Toyota. The founder of Toyota developed that, and the startup world kind of incorporated that. And if you look at a business like that and the whys and this and that, and you can start doing analysis and really see where your strategy is, where you need to be. But again, I think for a startup, the #1 priority is to be flexible, adaptable, and be able to move quickly and basically whatever the hell you want, because that's how innovation gets done. But also that's how companies like Uber and the big ones get in trouble with the government laws. But hey, we're breaking rules and changing the industry, so.
There's a bit of a cultural difference between the startup world and the corporate world, and not just in how we dress, but sort of the expectations, the values, and sort of why we work. You have this disconnect between sort of the corporate world that has a certain culture and does things in a certain way, and the startup world that are embracing the new way of working and corporate. How do you see the link and the marriage between the two?
It's like twofold. You have technology moving where everything now needs to be flexible, needs to be virtual, everyone's used to it. And at the same time, we have the internet and high-speed data, and so we're able to see all the other companies like Google, who started this whole like rec room and open floor plan, and all these. That's the new thing now. So it's like, if corporate doesn't change, then people are going to start wanting to go other places, and everyone expects this lifestyle. Is what they say now in the blockchain industry. We're all decentralized or whatever. I don't know how to say that. I kind of feel stupid saying that, but a lot of people do. No offense. But that's kind of, I think, what the world is going to now. And again, there's a lot of, especially with the big corporate consulting companies. They're almost all of them now are moving to a lot of the consultants. They can work wherever. They can work at home, and so a lot of employees, you said, are expecting that.
Yeah, it's interesting how so we're seeing the corporates sort of adopt the startup culture, rather than sort of startups getting mature and then becoming a corporate. It's sort of the reverse. Yeah. So that's the time we've got for today. So our time is up. Thank you very much for being on stage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was starting up in Malta. Starting up in ecosystems. Here we are today at the Zest stage. It's going to be a